Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another plan with me video. In this one I'm going to be showing you a couple of things I do to set up my planner at the beginning of every month. I don't do a lot since everything is ready to use right away, but I did want to show you the few things I add to make planning each month easier for me. Starting off, I set up my calendar page. I don't do much here because I fill it in throughout the month as I go, but I do like to set up my key to show my color coding system on this page. I use this page to track my Instagram posts, my restocks in my shop, my YouTube video schedule, my workouts, and any personal events or appointments that I may have in that month. Next, at the beginning of the month, I plan out my TBR, or the books I want to read that month, and I also write out any new books releasing that month on the new releases page. We're going to start with my TBR. Obviously, this information changes every month based on the books I want to read, but this is one of my favorite spreads to fill out, even if I don't always follow it. I have been experimenting with different styles of writing the month title on the TBR page. So far this year, I've tried styling it a little bit differently every month, and I'm really happy with the way this one ended up coming out. It did take a bit of a detour. I tried doing one thing, but it didn't work, so I switched to this way, but I do like the pop of green. I think it makes it fun, especially since green is the color of the month for March in the planner. Following that, I just write the books that I want to read for that month. This year, I'm doing the 12 Reads from 12 Friends challenge, so I always mark the book pick for that particular month with a star, so I know that I definitely have to read that one. As you can see, I did make a mistake in starting to write the wrong Harry Potter title. I did go back and try and fix it later. It wasn't perfect, but I just colored over the mistake and later added some little potion bottle doodles to try and cover it up. I know I've had a few people question if I make mistakes and what I do when I make them. I absolutely make mistakes all the time. Usually I just try and cover it up with something, or I just leave it. Mistakes are a part of life and they don't really bother me that much. As you will see later on, I do add some little white gel pen doodles over top of it, and it doesn't look perfect, but it's fine and it is what it is. Next, I fill in the new releases page. This is where I keep track of books that are releasing that month and when. I actually did make a couple of small mistakes on this page. One with my color coding system. Usually I try and use different colors for YA fantasy versus adult fantasy, but I accidentally used the wrong color, so I just kind of went with it. Not that it really matters to anyone but myself. Secondly, I actually got the release date wrong on one of the books, Bone Crier's Moon. I don't know why I had it written as that date, but it actually came out on the 3rd, so I'll probably add an arrow to it later, or I'll just leave it. Again, it's totally okay to make mistakes. You don't even have to write this page in order. You could just fill in this page as you hear about the books. It's ultimately up to you at the end of the day, but this is a system I've been using for like 2 years now, so it's what works best for me. But I do like to color coordinate based on genre a lot. I do that on the books to read checklist as well. Because I'm a bit of a mood reader, it just helps me to narrow down books based on what I'm in the mood for at the time. From there, we move into the weekly spreads. I don't really do a lot with these pages because I use them daily for to-do lists, appointments, important info, my workouts, and tracking all my reading, but I do like to add a few things on each week so that it's ready for me to fill in each day. One of the main things I add is a step tracker. This year, I've been really trying to up my fitness game, and one of the things that's been really helping me is logging my steps along with my workouts. So I just write in the word steps on every single day so that it's ready for me to fill in. I find logging my steps helps keep me motivated to keep moving and walking. Additionally, at the end of every week in the notes section, I add 3 prompts: weekly steps, pages read, and memorable moment. This is something I started doing last month and I really enjoyed it. At the end of the week, I add up how many steps I had in that week as well as how many pages I read. And I also write down one thing that stuck out to me, good or bad. It's a quick way for me to reflect on each week and check in with myself and see how I'm doing in the areas that are important to me. So at the beginning of the month, I fill in those prompts on every single week. I like having it ready to fill in as I go, and it makes less work for me later. If you were interested in doing something similar, you could just add the prompts weekly or even daily. I choose to do it a month at a time because that's what works best for me. But while I'm doing this, if I see a particular date that I know has something going on, like the beginning of spring, for example, or birthdays, or any kind of appointment that I'm aware of going into it, then I usually will add stickers or write in the event. But otherwise, I fill in these pages as I go throughout each week. I usually do that every single day, sometimes every few days, but I will show an example of how I use these pages at the end of the video. So as I said, I fill in each week with the same things, the step tracker and the 3 weekly prompts in the notes section. So I'm just going to speed through the following weeks until we get to the next step in my monthly setup. The last thing that I do to set up each month is prep the dot grid area on the monthly wrap-up page. I've seen this page used a lot of different ways, from tracking reading challenges to mood trackers to graphs that track pages read every day. The possibilities for using this dot grid are completely up to your creativity. For me, I use it to keep track of my shop's stats for that month, sales, revenue, top products sold, but I also use it as a mini habit tracker. So I got this idea from someone on my planner Facebook group, and I really liked it, so I adapted it to track 2 things that I was interested in, which are walking my dog and reaching my step goal, which are things that I want to try and do every single day. I start by creating a mini calendar for that month, one for each habit I'm tracking, and then throughout the month, I'll highlight the days that I accomplished that goal or habit. It's a nice way to reflect on the month as a whole, and so I can keep track of how much I'm doing something that's important to me. You could use this system to track anything: water, fitness, taking medication, writing, posting on social media. Honestly, you could use it for anything, but I just use it for these 2 things because these are the 2 things that I want to keep track of and make sure that I'm doing the most frequently as I possibly can. Plus, at the end of the month, it's really nice to look back and see everything filled out or not filled out if I didn't do so well. It's just a really great way for me to see how well I'm doing at those tasks. I also like to have it set up at the beginning of each month so that it's ready to be filled in and I'm not stuck wondering what to do with this section at the end of the month, which has happened before. So I like to have something in place so that it's ready to go and all I have to do is fill it in. So that's a look at how I prep the planner at the beginning of the month, but now that it's been a few days into March, I thought I would just show you how I use the planner and what it looks like as I use it throughout the month. So once again, starting with the blank calendar page, as I mentioned, I fill in this page as I go with any appointments, my video schedule, restocks, and my Instagram posts, so I can look back on the calendars and see what I did when. Next is my TBR and new releases page with my little mistake covered up. This page doesn't change after I initially fill it in. Then we move into the weekly spread with a few days filled in so you can see how I typically use it. Lately I've been experimenting with different systems and styles, and so far I'm really liking this look. I use it mostly for my daily to-do list and to keep track of more details about appointments. I also use it for book releases, my workouts, my daily steps, and obviously my reading life, which hasn't been very active so far this month. But usually I like to keep track of when I started and finished books, and I also keep track of my daily reading stats and how many pages I've read. Finally, we have the March wrap-up page and the haul page. I keep track of what I'm buying throughout the month and fill it in when I make a purchase, which is a great way for me to keep track of my spending. And also here's a look at my habit trackers in use so you can see how I fill them in. But going back to the weekly spread, I just wanted to share 2 new pens that I've been absolutely loving lately. I recently purchased both of these and fell in love and haven't stopped using them, especially on the weekly spreads. The first is the Marvy Le Pen Technical Drawing Pen in 0.5. This is the pen I use for all the block writing on this page. I love the way that this writes and it doesn't bleed through, and it's really great for adding little doodles as well. The second is a highlighter. I just got a set of them and I absolutely love them. They are the Zebra Justfit Mojini line highlighters. They're super pigmented and vibrant and they don't bleed through at all. They also have a flexible nib, so it's really easy to use. I use them to add little accents and pops of color to the planner. If you're looking for a highlighter, I definitely recommend looking into these ones. Anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I set up a month of my planner. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment below with how you like to set up your planner each month. Is there anything you like to add or prep at the beginning of the month? I hope you are enjoying the Plan With Me series so far. It's been really fun to show you how I use my planner. Let me know if there are any other areas of the planner you'd like to see filled out for my next Plan With Me video. And if you like my content and you're not already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.